So one of the things that I think is really good for either new hams or old hams alike is, ham radio projects. And one of the coolest things that you can do nowadays is the Hamclock. And the Hamclock is compiled software that runs on a Raspberry Pi. If you look up here closely in the corner, you can see the Pi logo, the terminal, the file, the browser, and Hamclock. And you can just kind of just leave it running. It requires internet. But if you don't know what PSK Reporter is and all this other stuff, I really can't explain it to you. But basically, these are your propagation that you're seeing on the map based on your grid square on the live spots. And each color represents the band and the activity on that band. So you can see 10 meters is quite good right now, and it is 20. We don't really see anything else. And it gives other information here, and if you use the mouse, you can click on it. And it gives you solar activity, it gives you X-ray, actually can give you your weather. I have mine set up here to show contests and things like that, and POTA soda on the air stations. And then you got the time and all the grid square. I didn't want my call sign on here, so I just put something stupid in there. So, anyway, it's really cool, and it can run off of something very small, like a Pi 02. This is a 02W. And these are fairly cheap. You'll need to get like all the extra pieces for them. You're going to need an HDMI adapter. And compiling the software on here can be a little tricky because even though it's a quad-core processor, the amount of RAM is very, very limited. And so it barely wants to run the web browser. And you need to access the browser to install the script into the terminal. It's kind of like one of these copy and paste things where, like, if you're to type it in the terminal, it won't type correctly. It's got a line with another line underneath it, and then you hit enter. And in the terminal, I'm not aware of a way to type a line and then add another line underneath it and then hit enter. So that's what it requires. And you would go over to the Clear Sky Institute and grab the script, and you would put it in there, and it would take care of the rest of the stuff. So you really need a Pi 3B if you want to do it the easy way. Which brings me to the other thing. So 3D printing is another really good thing to get into for ham radio and new hams. You can build stuff for yourself. You can 3D print enclosures. You could print things for that. This is a Pi 3B. It actually does have Hamclock on it, but I was designing the case to use this display, this touch display. I'm not going to power it up because I have not installed the drivers for the display to work correctly. So if I were to hook this up, it actually could hook to this perfectly fine and display the Hamclock, but there wouldn't be anything on this display. Actually, I forgot this one. I switched the SD card. This is a recal box. It's retro gaming. And I was going to enable the display and just have like this retro gaming thing on here. But anyway, I'll show you the Hamclock one here in a second. I'm actually not even sure which this one is. So this one could be another project for one of these. So this is a DMR hotspot. And yeah, that's what it is. So here we got PiStar. That's another thing you can run on these. Here's another one. Okay. So I've just got a bunch of SD cards. This is RetroPie. We don't want that. Don't even know if this is the same one either. But anyway, so there's a bunch of stuff you got to do to make it display on the screen. And I think this one's probably Hamclock. So when you were to load this initially, that's what it'll look like. And Hamclock is really complicated, but yet simple. It's kind of interesting. So there's lots of stuff you can configure. But it's a good project for somebody to get into and learning about how the Raspberry Pi works, because if you don't know that, then you're going to struggle to get Hamclock to work. And I have to wait for this thing to do its thing, otherwise I'll need to hook a mouse to it and tell it to skip. Another thing that's really good for these is Bluetooth keyboards and stuff like that, because you can free up some USB ports. So assuming that you don't actually have... let me see. If you don't actually have Hamclock running... But this is really difficult to film this. I'd love to do this on a computer with screen capture. It would be so much nicer. Hold on. So you would want to come in here. Move this mouse over here. Let's just say you don't have Hamclock installed. You need to come over here. And you open the browser, which is really, really slow. I don't even know if what's going on here, if it even clicked it. So I'm using the Pi 3B, and this is way worse. See how it's froze up? This is way worse on the Pi Zero. Like, it's almost not even feasible. Okay. Well, let's just sit there. We'll wait for that to load a bit, and we'll go from there. And then I need to find my Bluetooth keyboard or plug-in keyboard, because I'm going to have to type in here. Usually with the Pi, I like to use the Bluetooth keyboard because it frees up a lot of resources, especially on a Pi Zero that only has 2 ports and only one that is already wasted by the power. So we need to go to the Clear Sky Institute, which is going to be the website that will have all the stuff we need. Since I'm not on the Pi Zero and I am on the Pi 3, I'm going to just go ahead and plug a keyboard into this. And because the Pi 3 has an independent port for power and 4 USB ports, which is more than enough. So, Clear Sky. It's not typing. Okay. Oh, there we go. See how bad the lag is? Clear Sky Hamclock. Let's just see if we can find it. It's actually kind of hard to search it and find it on the Pi. And this is like, I'm making this video this way so you can see exactly what to expect. It's going to be a pain. And it's like, what happens is we have no mouse now. I don't know where it is. We just have to sit here and wait. You just have to sit and wait for this thing. It's like really that bad. Now, I don't remember how much RAM the Pi 3B has. Now, the hamshack.blog is something else, and that's not what we want. I'm waiting for this thing so that I can try to close the other tabs. Let's see. Wait. Okay, let's try and get these other ones out of here. It really, really slows this thing down. Okay, so we can click down here, Clear Sky Institute Hamclock instructions, and that might take us to the page. But like, the page is super hard to find on the Pi. We don't want Innovato, we don't want none of this other crap. And browsing on a Pi is really, really painful. None of these are the correct website. That's the problem. I think this site might actually have a link to it. It's just stupid. There's like, yeah, what we need is the actual web address so we could type it in and go straight to it. But a Google search, it doesn't turn up very well on a Google search. So this is a website that will tell you how to install it, which is great, but I'm trying to show you how to install it here. Okay, so visit the official Hamclock page. Now see, it says clearskyinstitute.com. So this is the correct page. Okay. Let me see if we can bump this up. Okay. So there's the FAQ in here, which is a lot of help. Okay. The FAQ will show you everything you need to know, what software you need to be running on your Pi, how to run it on Windows. It will give you all that information right there. And so there's also the user guide right here. And the way that this page is set up, you kind of want to do that. Boy, the delay on this thing is so bad. So it goes through all that. Oh my god. Okay. So this is the script that you need to run right here. How to install Hamclock on Raspberry Pi. Follow these steps. Okay, you need to be able to come in here and copy and paste that script right there. Okay? You cannot type that into the terminal on your own. Otherwise, if you can, then all you would need to do is do that. And that alone will run the Pi software on your thing and install Hamclock for you. But the problem is, the browser, as glitchy as it is, trying to get into here to this page, finding this website, which doesn't show up on a Google search, and then getting that script and copying and pasting it, and then successfully pasting it in the terminal, is almost an act of God on a Pi Zero. On the Pi 3B, it's not too bad, but it can be a pain. So we would copy this, and then we would come in here to our terminal. We would open our terminal, and we would paste it in there. It would ask us a bunch of questions. I'm not going to go and do it because it's already on there. But that's the process that you would take to do this. And I'm telling you, I had a super hard time doing this on the Pi Zero. It was very frustrating, but I finally did get it to work. And it's just a matter that the browser, either this one or Chromium, neither one of them really support 256 megabytes of RAM. So once you have all that started, the Hamclock will install on the desktop here. You can have it to where it automatically runs. I think you can just execute it like this. I don't know if it has to be executed in the terminal. I can't remember. And then you have your setup, and you can click skip because I'm already set up on here. It's going to look for your IP address, all this other stuff, the DNS, blah, blah. It displays the signal strength. And it's looking for the best server. I don't know where it's getting this information from, but and I don't want the new version. And then boom, we have the Hamclock, and there it is. And this one is set up a little differently than the other one. But I have my live spots right here. And this one here, the newer versions will allow you to type whatever the hell you want in there. You don't have to put your call sign in there. But the old ones were kind of different. That's why the other one said FU2. I was like, it wanted something that looked like a call sign, and I was like, screw you. I don't want my call sign in there. You know? Anyway, this one here is set up differently than the other one. On these things here, you would click on them in the left or the right. You can select different things. It doesn't have to be what I have there. There's a whole slew of videos on how to change these. And if you click over here, you might get the same thing. Click cancel. Click in the bottom. You can determine what you're using. The reverse beacon network, Whisper, PSK. So these are different providers that provide you with live spots. I don't know why mine was on Whisper. And the spot could be of you or by you. And I don't know what that truly means. You would have to experiment with it. Right now, we've got some other crap on here too, but let's go back in here again. Okay, so of the DE, DE means you. Okay. We're not seeing any spots at all on here, which means that this is an older installation and something's not quite right on it at this moment. It probably needs to update still. Okay, so we've got PSK, we've got the grid, not the call. And you can select within how many hours, we want within the last hour, not anything more than that. And we want all these bands, they're all selected. We click OK. And now it's starting to populate the stuff. There's 20 meters. So, of DM34 in the last hour. So, whoever's in this grid, and we can change this to by, and it will change completely. See that? So basically, these are contacts made by people in that grid in Arizona. And now we can get an idea of propagation where we're at, not propagation to us. So the other way was to us. And as you see, it blossoms out from here. The other way is wherever other places are making contact to this grid. This is the best way to run this, in my opinion. So you can see 10 meters is on fire from where we're at right here. And this is really, I think, the basis of, like, the most important part of Hamclock for me is this part. I can look at it and I get a visual representation of what band is going to be good to use right now. So I think the Hamclock is like the most valuable tool, free tool out there, other than a nano VNA. Like, what it can do and all the other cool stuff it can do. Now, on almost any of these windows here, you can click them, okay? And you can change them. Here you want to look at the, let's say we want to look at the moon. Well, we'll go change that. Now, if you have these other things checked, it will rotate them out, and it's very slow to change. So there's the moon. It will show us the moon. We can come in and say we want the, I forget which one is the sunspot one, which actually I do like. No, not that one. Let's click it again. Okay, I don't know what BZBT is. Let's see what that is. Let's go through them all. Okay. Solar. Okay. And the DRAP is something to do with the maximum usable frequency. That's a whole nother thing that you can fiddle around with. I'm not even going to get into that. It is so crazy. SDO is the sunspots. You see them right there. Solar flux. We have The aurora over here, the flux is good to know. The solar wind, the sunspot number. You can have all these on one of these screens and it'll just, you know, kind of change. But it's really a lot you can do. And each one of these can all be changed to do the same thing. Let's see. vocap, VOA cap, or whatever you want to call it. And these are the bands that it's looking at. Like, I think it's kind of like got to do with propagation. I'm not really sure. I don't completely understand how it works. Well, let's just go to the SDO sunspot. Leave it there. On this one here, if we click right here, we can go terrain, DRAP, muff, aurora, and weather. Muff is maximum usable frequency, and you see that VCAP on there. We could switch it to muff. We'll take the terrain off, or you can leave it on. It doesn't really matter. And then now it'll start to show us the scale down on the bottom, and it will develop this thing here that kind of gives us an idea. The colors represent the band on the bottom, or the frequency, and you can see the frequency is favoring somewhere around 6 meters actually right now, but we don't really see any propagation on 6. Interesting how we can see like these lines in the sun, and it seems to be an artifact, and I'm not seeing it on my display, only in the camera. But there's lots of stuff that you can change on here. So we go here and we go muff RT instead of VCAP. Click OK. It's building the map. It'd be a little different. And I'm not even going to lie to you and tell you I understand any of this stuff, because I don't. I just kind of have a basic idea of it. We have a weather map. And that's pretty cool too. You can go countries. Aurora is very interesting too. So the aurora will basically show up at the polar caps, and you know, go on up. We can see what's going on here with the aurora. Let's see, we'll go just terrain and countries, and then there's a grid that you can put on here. You can have the projection. You can Mercator, Azimuthal, Azim, and Robinson, whatever Robinson is. Robinson's probably going to be like this, stretched out, and one of them will be like different things. So you can really, really mess with this thing. Hold on. So Azim 1. Okay, we have that. And then the other one's going to be dual. It'll be 2 round things. And look at our propagation. It just looks crazy. Like, now it actually really makes sense when you look at it. It's just like shooting out straight, you know. By the way, the Earth is flat. See? It's flat. It's on this piece of paper. Flat. I suppose you could argue that it is or isn't, but I'm going to go with it's not flat. Although, how is the level? Oh, he's level if the Earth is round. Gravity. So we have this one here. I don't remember what this is. Okay, this is just the one we were on Mercator, which kind of unravels the Earth on a flat plane so that you can look at it, kind of. And I think it accounts for the curvature. This is my favorite one to use. So that's Hamclock, and that's kind of they give you a basic idea of how, if you're curious, to get it going. And that is an excellent project for new people to research and learn about. I'm not here to make it super easy for you to install it. I'm here to get you interested in doing it. So thank you guys for watching.